Ladies and gentlemen, this is international news. France is inconsolable. France no longer knows which saint to dedicate herself to. The war, the conflict, we can say it like this: the Cold War that broke out between Russia and France is endless. And Vladimir Putin is really enjoying it at his mercy, that is to say, indescribably. We have one of the countries that was more addicted to France, one of the African countries whose head of state was very addicted to France and submitted to France to Emmanuel Macron, who has just chosen Russia's camp in terms of cooperation. Of course, this is Guinea-Bissau, General Embalo Sissoko. That gentleman you see there, General Embalo Sissoko. This is someone who was more than submissive to Emmanuel Macron. We have seen videos become viral where we saw in this video General Embalo Sissoko, who was walking with Emmanuel Macron since Emmanuel Macron was wearing a tie. He told her to trot his tie. There are no two captains in a boat. We saw Embalo take off his tie so much that the dominance was strong. Here is this Embalo who travels to see Vladimir Putin, and Vladimir Putin received General Embalo Sissoko with all honors, all respect. That's what makes the difference between Russia and other states, especially Western ones. Russia. What is Russia doing? Russia respects each state. You have your own way of managing. Russia respects how you want to run your nation then. It hurts France very much, but also, and especially taking into account what is happening on the side of Guinea-Bissau, we ask ourselves the question of what Embalo is manufacturing. Embalo wants to stay in power. Just recently, there is an MP who was arrested at the Guinea-Conakry border for participating in a ceremony. And worship, a ceremony, a ritual where they sacrificed an ox, etc., etc. The elements of General Embalo had said that this gentleman was preparing a coup d'etat, and that is the sacrifice he had gone to make, he had gone to do. And so Embalo has something in his head, even if the choice of Russia is a good thing. But apparently, he wants to have the support of Russia to continue to maintain himself in power, no matter what. That's what we're going to talk about in this video conference. So before continuing, I ask you to share this video conference, share it as much as possible in all possible groups, share it as much as you can. Do not forget to put a lot of likes. That's it. And especially leave our slogan in comment. Put there, it's already won. Let's go in the depths, dear lady, dear sir. According to official information, an agreement on cooperation in all areas was sealed with Russia. Putin received him in the Kremlin, making key statements that infuriated Emmanuel Macron. Recently, Macron tried to involve America in Russia-related issues, but it was humiliating for him as Trump already knew his intentions. The process to sideline France in Africa proceeds normally. In trouble, America with Russia, but for him was simply humiliation. Since America, President Donald Trump already knows him. He knows his intentions. The decision is made to drive all that is France to the side of Africa, and the process is running its normal course. So here are the key statements from President Vladimir Putin, And what's his name? General Embalo Sissoko, the Russian president, he said this. He reads, relations between Russia and Guinea-Bissau are developing successfully on the basis of mutual respect and growing trust. It is developing successfully. I said this relationship wasn't that much before. This is one of the aspects that hurt Manu then. The Russian president says this. Help Russia increase the quota in military education for the citizens of Guinea-Bissau. So as part of their cooperation, Russia will send missionaries to train the Guinea-Bissau military, since today the conquest of the sovereignty of African states is based on what? It depends on having a strong army first. Since no African country is spared this De Torotero affair. Whatever the weather, it can happen at any time, you never know. That is why our armies must be very strong, even if tomorrow General Mbalo leaves. But the agreements that will be signed between Russia and Guinea-Bissau, these agreements will continue. The state is continuity. Well, even if the president who comes may have the opportunity to change his contracts, these agreements. But today, everyone knows that the people, the citizens of every country, want every African country, especially West Africa, still want their leaders to establish serious relations with Russia. So Putin says this. Putin expressed hope to see his Guinea-Bissau counterpart re-elected this year. Well, and is what he masters well, apparently, I believe, Mbalo, and at the end of his mandate, he wants to force a third term. Anyway, everything is arranged on this side. Vladimir Putin alone, in the course of the exchanges, he said trade between Russia and Africa increased by 10% last year. He continued to help many Russian companies show interest in working in the Guinea-Bissau market. So Guinea-Bissau is interested in Russia then. Around the Guinean President Bissau to speak, he says this: the Guinean-Bissau and the Russians are brotherly peoples. Yes, we agree on brotherly peoples. I don't know. When did this brotherhood begin? Yes, this is a way of speaking diplomatically, but otherwise listen to brotherly peoples. We can understand when we say, for example, the Guinean-Bissau and Ivorians are brotherly peoples. The Bissau Guineans and the South Africans are fraternal peoples. But up to Jukulkul there, we are brother peoples. Yes, as a creature of God, we agree and make them, said he. He has just arrived late, but his demagoguery is too great. And the Guinean-Bissau and the Russians are brotherly peoples. Countries are reliable partners, we agree. He continues, he says, the current visit to Russia is aimed at reaffirming the bond of friendship between the Russian people and the people of Guinea-Bissau, the bonds of friendship between the countries. Here's all he had to say. Is that all right? Which remains clear. In conclusion, France feels very, very uncomfortable, but extremely uncomfortable. Yes, because they are cutting those routes. And so, ladies and gentlemen, this is the news. Thank you for sharing it as much as possible. I'll be right back with some news. It was the voice of your only samurai.